So who do you think you are? And I put that in a little bit tongue-in-cheek sort of phraseology, because there is, in the world of work, and as people are starting to trying to break through from not being able to get the results that they want to being able to get the results, there's that almost like that imposter syndrome. When you start to accelerate, you start to say, well, look, that's what I want, but who do I think I'm kidding? I'm not really like that. I'm not really capable of doing that. Well, I'm afraid somehow you're going to have to find the way of believing it yourself, believing that you can do what it is you say you're going to do. And part of that is about some soul searching, but quite often it's about reframing where you've come from and where you're going. And alongside this particular part of this module, I'm going to put quite a few readings for you to have a look at, because I've done quite a lot of work coaching people who are suffering from confidence issues or problems and haven't got, particularly when they've moved job or they've stepped up. So I've done quite a lot of writing already, and you can read that at your leisure. But I think the key thing is here to actually understand what confidence means to you, and in your environment with your reputational ambitions, what is it that is going to really give you the confidence that you need. I'll come back to that a little bit later, but for now, recognize that this confidence is a real issue, and you have to overcome it one way or another if you are to gain credibility, which is the next point that I'd like to raise, because what the devil is credibility. And when you start to look into the definitions, you get sort of it's trust, it's reliability, and things like that. But as I'm sure you'll know in your experiences, when you're looking out at the world and all the people in it, you're making judgments all the time on what people are credible and what people aren't. Now, credibility is absolutely mission critical if you want people to believe you, to trust you, to be able to see the value that you bring. So all people who've got a great reputation have found a way to build credibility in the minds of the other people, in their audience, within their arena, particularly the key players and the powerful players. So a question that I'd like you to answer is, what does credibility mean to you? Now, I'm going to give you, and that's part of the exercises that will follow this, because you've got to unravel that. Because firstly, know where you come from in terms of what's credible and what's not. But then more importantly is to try to divine what the key players in your arena, i.e. the recipients of your reputation, measure. How do they measure credibility? And so let me give you a couple of examples to sort of tease this out a little bit more. In one client organisation I work with, their biggest thing when it comes to credibility is the actual face-to-face experience with the customer. You've got to have been out there selling to the customer for a good number of years before you become credible. Now, some people that I worked with on the workshops in that organisation came in with their degrees and their PhDs and all of that and thought, well, we know what's going on, we know how retail works. It wasn't credible to the powers that be. Yes, it was good stuff, and they believed it was the way they could demonstrate their credibility, but in their environment, it was useless. Or pretty much useless, because they didn't have any experience out there, live experience out there with the company, with the customer. Counter to that, in another organisation I've worked with, it's all about qualifications, and unless you've got the qualifications to back up what you're saying, people don't believe you. In fact, it's so bad that people won't even listen to people unless they've got a PhD, which is a shame, because they're potentially losing out on some valuable contributions from those people. But hell, that's the way it's working over there. So what I'm saying is that as part of this element of the module is getting your head around what you need to be able to do to demonstrate credibility in the eyes of the people that you want to influence or that you want to build the reputation with. And then it comes to sort of, and coming back to this idea of confidence, but what have you got to do? What actions have you got to take to give yourself the confidence. And some of that is about the emotion. Some of it is about the way you justify things to yourself, the way you talk to yourself, and other things might be what other people say to you and what other people sort of give you that boost. And you've got to work out how that's happening for you. So how do you get convinced that you're really good? And the more you can do that, the better you will fare. And in some of the articles that I'm going to point you to later, you can look at, well, what is the basis of your credibility, of your confidence? I mean, many people changing work, changing jobs, particularly as they're going up through the stream, they're getting promoted on the basis of their technical capability in a particular product line or something like that. As soon as that individual then is promoted beyond the need for them to be a technical expert to perhaps look after another team where they've got no grounding, suddenly their confidence is gone because they don't know the content, and therefore their confidence is totally evaporated and they're almost like paralyzed. Well, I can't make any decisions here until I've learnt all of this and I know all the ins and outs and things like that, which is a shame and a little bit silly. But really what you need to do at certain stages, certainly in that situation, is then start to base your confidence on your process of inquiries, your ability to solve problems and things like that, so that even though you don't know the ins and outs of the new sort of specialism that you're looking after, you know how to facilitate it out of others. And that can give you and restore your confidence. So in what you're doing, and particularly in what you're building your reputation on, you've got to figure out what it takes to be totally confident that you know what you're doing. Because until you are, people will see the cracks, particularly as most reputation building is sort of building upwards and sort of creating that in the minds of a more senior or certainly a peer group or relationship. And those are the people that have got a lot of experience, and those are the people that can look at somebody and say, you're not in the least bit confident about what you're just saying, so why should I listen to you? So you've got to have that real substance behind your confidence, and until you start asking the question, what will it take to get there, you're going to make slow progress. And the final part of this is about then the way you start to carry yourself in the various interactions. And so this is stepping a little bit beyond where we are with this module, because this is almost like, how do you then display that you've got that confidence? And there are two sides. And a lot of this is coming to the word gravitas. And you may have been on the webinar recently that I did on how to develop your gravitas. And in fact, what I'm going to do, if you haven't, I'm going to give you that video as part of this course as well, so that you can watch a full hour of me helping people to explore what gravitas is, what bearing is, what presence is in the context of their environment. Because fundamentally it's not just about being confident, it's about displaying that confidence in a very, what I think, an authentic way that will make other, oh blimey, yeah, that guy knows what he's talking about. And so to be able to do that, I believe you need to be able to carry yourself in the manner in which somebody in your environment would carry themselves if they totally knew what was happening, what was going on, and how to handle anything that came at them. So that's another key part of building that confidence and preparing yourself to step up into your reputational aspirations. So please do think about that. Do the questions, do the exercises on this part, particularly about what is credibility and what will it take to make you feel really, really confident. And then I think more importantly, then also look at how you then carry yourself. So have a look at the videos and see where you get to. But hopefully that will start to give you the ideas that you need to start locking in over the coming months.